This is a story of a little girl who's paralyzed by the legs. This story will be talking about a little girl who's been paralyzed by the legs since she was born. The little girl's name is Kavin. This little girl is about 2 to 3 years old but cannot walk. Her mom says that her daughter is paralyzed by the legs and was paralyzed by the legs since childhood. The little girl was born in a worse condition than she is right now. Her mom says that she wasn't just seemed to be paralyzed by the legs, but also had liquid in her head and her back hurt a lot more. When the mother had given birth to her child, the girl came out interesting. Her daughter was the second child, and it wasn't usual to see how she turned out to be because her first child was a normal kid and was born normally. But her daughter didn't come out the same. Her daughter had a different story. Her daughter first came out looking like a normal child. Her legs weren't moving a lot, and her head seemed a slight bigger than usual. But they didn't do that much about it because they checked on her and saw that there wasn't that much of a problem and her health wasn't good as normal children or babies that are first born, but there was not big of a problem. The mother and father took her home and raised her, and when she turned a few months, the mom started noticing that her baby girl wasn't acting as a normal baby should be acting. By this time, her baby girl should be able to sit up or able to at least get up on her own when she woke up. But her daughter wasn't able. Her daughter took it really hard to get up or to even sit straight. Every single time she tried to sit her straight up, she'd always end up falling, and she would never ever be able to carry herself up. And the mother started to think that her daughter had problems with her back. But that wasn't the problem. The symptoms started showing the older she became. She started seeing that her daughter's head was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and that her daughter's feet weren't moving at all. So she took her daughter to the hospital, and then the doctors checked, and because their hospitals didn't have that much of a good equipment or the right tools to treat her, they said that they saw nothing, but recommended that she goes to a better hospital out of the village because they probably had better equipment. So the mother and the husband got all their money that they had and went out the village to get a better hospital or a better doctor. And when they got there, the hospital said that their daughter had legs that seemed to be paralyzed and water in her head. And the reason for her not being able to get up is because her body and her back wasn't strong enough for her head size. And so they would have to take out all the water in her head and also do surgery to her legs so her legs could have the blood that's pumping in her head come down to her legs so they could come back to life. With all the new information that they had got from their doctor, they took their daughter back home. That night, her and her husband decided that they would need to move houses closer to the city where there was better hospitals and better doctors to treat for her daughter. And so they could eventually get their daughter's treatment and heal her. When they come back, her daughter wouldn't look the way she looked, and she would fit in with other children. So the mother and father decided to pack their stuff and move out the house closer to the city. After the parents moved, in the week of living into their new house that they rented and had to pay for every month, they decided to take their daughter to the closest hospital, which was still far away. They paid for their taxi and arrived to the hospital. When they told the doctors that worked at the hospital their daughter's condition, the doctor gave them only one option, and that was to take out all the water in her head. But that would include surgery, and that would also include to pay, because surgery was paid where they are. Because their daughter was born in an interesting way, and they were afraid of how the world would look at their daughter and treat her, they immediately agreed with the opportunity of taking the water out of her head. But they had to pay, and they had to pay a lot of money. So the father decided to go to his work and do something, and asked for a loan. The loan was exactly $8,000, and the $8,000 were to pay off the hospital bills and the surgery and taking the water out and going back and forth to the hospital and back home. It was to pay all of that. They gave him the loan, and in a short time being, Kaveen was taken to the hospital and she had her surgery, and her surgery went perfect. But there were still more problems. Even though the daughter had no water in her head, her back still hurts. The doctors have a list of equipments that the mother will need to buy and keep at home to help her daughter's back get better. But the mother doesn't have that because she doesn't have the money. She's expected to get the list soon and look at it and know what she needs, but she's afraid she won't be able to buy those equipment, let alone have to pay the rent and feed her and her 2 children, and sometimes even have to go visit her husband, who wasn't living with her, because he got caught at work and he had to pay off the loan. And because he had to pay off the loan of $8,000, he was not allowed to go anywhere until he paid it. And the loan would take at least 6-7 years to pay off in their condition. Kaveen still needs her legs to have surgery. Her blood that's inside her body has stopped going to her legs, and that's the main reason why her legs seem to be paralyzed. She needs her blood flowing every part of her body, but that also includes surgery. She has bandages on her legs because they were going to begin the surgery until the money ran out and the father wasn't allowed to come back home. And that left her in bandages and they couldn't do anything. So Kaveen's mother is looking onto YouTube and TV and called us asking us for help to take this interview so she can ask the viewers that are watching these videos to help her. She needs help so her daughter can go back to living like a normal daughter, so her husband can pay off the loan and come back to live with them, and also to find food and pay off the house rent. She needs all that with money and also get the treatment she needs for her daughter, but she has no money for it. So we're asking whoever's watching these videos, please let this touch your hearts and help out whatever you can and donate. The donation will be down in the description. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button if you like this video. Also hit the notification button so anytime a video comes up, you will be notified for any videos. Thanks for watching.